Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Dallas Stars franchise mode. So in last episode we took on the Chicago Blackhawks in the second round of the playoffs, and we managed to take them out in 5 games, mainly due to our offense all of a sudden having like a big spurt in the last 3 games, because we have scored 16 goals in those last 3 games, and we're now going up against the Calgary Flames here in the conference finals. They had a very good regular season, going 46, 23, 11, and 2. While we went 48, 22, 10, and 2. So we're pretty similar in terms of record. Let's take a look at how they did during the regular season and a little bit of a comparison. And then we'll take a look at their player stats for the playoffs so far, and then we will get into simulating. So actually also their playoff journey up to this point. As you can see, they took out the Canucks in 5 games, and then they swept the St. Louis Blues in the second round. So both of us have only lost 1 game up to this point. As for the Eastern Conference, you got the Rangers and Penguins battling it out. The Penguins took out the Sabres in 6 games, and the Rangers swept the Flyers. So, let's get into the player stats first, or the team stats. Let's go team stats, see how they've been doing here in the playoffs, and then we'll also check the regular season quickly too for them. So as you can see at this point in the playoffs, they are 8-1. They have an average of 4 goals per game. We have an average of 3.89 goals per game, so very tight in terms of that. And both of us have been very good defensively. They have a 1.78, while we have a 1.89. So it's going to be a very similar battle for both these teams. Our power plays is 15.4%, but theirs has been very good, 29.7%. As for penalty kill, though, we are at 92% and they're at 86.4%. They have also 1 shorthanded goal so far. We have none. They're 5-0 on home ice while we're 4-1, and we're 4-0 on the road while they're 3-1. Let's take a look at their regular season and see how they finished in the standings, because I don't really remember up to this point. I think they finished maybe just a bit below us. So entire league. So yeah, they finished here at 5th with 103 points, so only 3 points back of us. They had 287 goals to our 279, so during the regular season they were better than us offensively. And in goals against wise, we had 212, while they had 234, so we were better defensively. Power play wise, we were both close, 17.5 and 20.2. As for our penalty kill, 84.4, and there's 83.5. So I think we're pretty much like very similar teams to an extent. We rely on our, they're better offensively, we're better defensively. So I guess it just comes down to who could kind of pull off their strength a bit more. So quickly, let's take a look at their player stats so far in these playoffs, see who's been contributing to their offense mainly, and then we will get simulating. So up to this point, Nylander, Lomakin, and MacInnis seem to be their biggest threats, as well as Wes Walls. So for some reason, Roberts, Nieuwendyk, and Fleury haven't been as good as some of those other guys, but they'll probably pick it up here in this conference finals, I would assume. As for Jeff Cornell, he's been pretty solid as well. So yeah, they're just scoring a decent amount of goals. Like their plus-minus stat aren't as good as ours, I think. Actually, never mind, they're pretty decent. Only 1 minus guy up to this point. And then so far, Mike Vernon has been very good. He's been as good as Darcy Wakaluk. Okay, so let's get into this conference finals matchup, see if we could get to the Stanley Cup finals for the first time in franchise history. That'd be pretty impressive considering the real-life Dallas Stars got to the Cup finals in 1999, and this is technically the 95-96 season. So we're kind of making some good progress up to this point. So let's get into game number 1 on home ice in the Reunion Arena, see if we could take a 1-0 series lead. First period, and we take a 1-0 lead. So once again, we have a first period where we don't allow a single goal. So we're continuing to play our game, which is nice. Sorry if you could hear the plow in the background. There's like a lot of snow outside. Shots are 10-9 anyways in favor of us after 1 second period, and it is a 3-2 lead for us. Nice. So they took a 2-1 lead. They scored 2 power play goals, Roberts and Titov. I don't know which Roberts that is. I would assume it's Gary Roberts, because Gordy, I think, is scratched still. And then Jermaine Titov scores to make it a 2-1 game for the Flames. But Dave Gagne and Mike Modano come through, and we have a 3-2 lead going into the third. Let's see if we can lock this one down. We've been a pretty good defensive team so far in these playoffs. Let's see if we could just continue like that. Because like I said in the last episode, there's been like pretty much like every single first period we've not allowed a single goal almost to an extent. Like I think the most we let in one period was 2 goals. So we're doing pretty well. And we are going to take game 1 by a score of 3-2 and improve to 9-1 on this playoff run so far. Player stats for that game, so Scott Young from Neil Broughton and Klatt, Gagne from Pearson and Vason, and Medano from Courtnall and Babbage. So Greg Adams should be actually back somewhat soon, I think, like maybe for game number 4. So Medano gets first star, Titov the second star, and Gagne the third. So we're continuing to play our good defensive style, and we're still scoring a decent amount of goals. Not as much as last round, but still pretty good. And Darcy Wackluck has been injured with a bruised hip, so that's the second time he's gone down with an injury this entire season. Which means we're going to have to rely on Andy Moog, which is not a good thing because Moog is kind of dropping off due to age. And we're going to have to call up Evgeny Nabokov from the AHL. And yeah, well, Nabokov actually had a pretty good season. So maybe he'll actually do decent if we put Nabokov in it instead. Because I don't know if I trust Andy Moog to an extent. So we'll put Nabokov in. But let's see, Wackluck's out till the 18th. So how long is that? I'll have to check quickly. So Landon Bow in the AHL, there you go. So at 18th, yeah, he's going to miss the rest of this round. So we're going to have to rely on Moog and Nabokov for this playoff run. And Greg Adams is back, so at least that gives us an offensive boost. Even though Stapleton has been very good for us. 6 points in 6 games since coming into the lineup. So Greg Adams back into the lineup. We're going to have to move him up in the lines. He did drop off actually to an 82. That's interesting. And then we'll put Lundell back down. So Greg Adams back into the lineup. Hopefully he could contribute to our offensive success. And hopefully he doesn't just screw up the chemistry and then his team loses a lot of games. So here we go, game number 2 without Darcy Wackluck. Let's see if we could take a 2-0 series lead headed to Calgary. First period, and it's scoreless again. So even without Wackluck, we still managed to have first periods where we don't allow goals. So I guess our defense is just that good. Shots are 9-8 in favor of the Flames, not in favor of your Flames because we're not the Flames. But anyways, shots 9-8 in favor of the Flames. Second period, and it is a 1-1 game. Theo Fleury scores another power play goal, so our penalty kill is not doing the greatest in this round because I think we've allowed 3 power play goals already. But Mike Medano scores on the power play for us. Shots are 20-19 in favor of the Flames, and it's a 1-1 game. Let's see if Andy Moog can get us a win here in the third. Come on, offense. Let's get another goal. There you go. Neil Broughton continuing to do what he did in the first 2 rounds, and Mike Medano has been coming through since, and Darian Hatcher makes it a 4-1 game. Damn, our offense though, like it's like sometimes quiet, and then all of a sudden it just has like a spurt where it scores like 3 goals in a period, or even more. Like in last round we scored like I think 4 goals in a period at one point. Lomacon makes it a 4-2 game, and we lock it down, and we have taken a 2-0 series lead on the Flames in this conference finals. So hopefully we could play good also in Calgary. Okay, stats for that game. So Medano from Courtnall, Broughton from Klatt, Medano from Adams and Courtnall, and Hatcher from Adams and Craig. So Adams with 2 assists in his first game back. So good on him to help out as soon as he gets into the lineup. Because in the first round, he had no points in 4 games, which was kind of odd. So Medano the first star, Moog the second star, and Lomacon the third. So Andy Moog actually had a pretty good game considering he was the starter in that one, even without Darcy Wackluck. And now he lost another player to injury, Brent Gilchrist, out till May the 22nd. So that will put in Stapleton, I think, into our lineup again. Just sucks that we lost Gilchrist because Gilchrist was actually pretty solid, I think, last round. Like he scored a couple goals in that series. So we have a 2-0 series lead. Let's see if we can improve to 11-1 in the playoffs. I don't know how we're simulating so well. I don't know if bringing in Dave Babbage was like a cheat code or what. First period of game 3, and it's 2-0 Flames. So that's our worst period since the Russian round, I think it was, where we let in 2 goals in the first period. They scored 2 goals on 10 shots, so not too good for Andy Moog. Rob Zettler getting the goal, and Joe Newendike, who actually won the cup with Dallas in 99, scores to make it a 2-0 lead. Shots are 10-7 in favor of the Flames. Come on, boys. Let's get a goal here in a second at least. There we go. That's what I want. And it's Greg Adams. So Greg Adams, despite being quiet in the first round, has been pretty good here since coming back from injuries. So maybe that kind of gave him like a second wind. Maybe it gave him a much needed rest because he is getting kind of old. He's like 33 at this point. So let's see what happens here in the third. Can we tie this game up? We have came back from 3-0 before, but James Patrick makes it 3-1. Yeah, it's probably Andy Moog's fault in this one. Yeah, 3 goals on 20-something shots is not the greatest. It's not our defense's fault, probably. And it looks like we are actually, maybe not. Medano makes it 3-2. And yep, we're going to lose game number 3 by a score of 3-2. And that is our first loss since game number, what was it? Game number 2 of the first round? Or the second round? Yeah, I think it was game number 2 of the second round. I can't even remember at this stage. But anyways, Greg Adams scored from Mike Medano and Russ Courtnall. And Medano from Courtnall and Adams. So that top line has been contributing a lot more as of lately. With Adams back in the lineup, Courtnall and Medano have been hot since the second round. So I'm glad those guys started to pick it up after that first round where they were really quiet. So Vernon the first start, Patrick the second start, and Medano the third. So I'm not going to make any line changes yet, considering that's only our second loss to the playoffs. But if we lose another game, I might want to make some line changes because I don't really want to have this team. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but I know this team it shouldn't lose multiple in a row necessarily. But if we do, I might have to make some changes to the offense a bit because the defense has been good. The offense has been kind of quiet a bit this round in comparison to the last 3 games of that last round. So we'll see how we play here in game number 4 in Calgary. See if we could take a 3-1 series lead. And if we can't, then like I said, I might make some line changes a bit. Just to shape up things a bit more. Or shake up things, yeah, that's what I mean. First period of game number 4. And it's scoreless. So another good first period for us. Not like last game where we let in 2 goals, but another good quiet first period. Shots are 11-9 in favor of us. Second period and still scoreless. So this one's actually going to drag out longer, it seems like. Shots are 16-15 in favor of us. Come on, offense. You can come through here. I know you can. Mike Medano. Oh, Scott Young. Okay, that's somebody that I could score. He hasn't scored since the second round, I think, so it's good to see him come through. Final 10 minutes here of third period, and Richard Matvichuk makes it 2-0. I think that's his first playoff goal. Good job, boys. Lock it down, and we are going to be taking a 3-1 stranglehold on the Calgary Flames, and we're 1 win away from the Stanley Cup Finals already, which I feel like I didn't do anything to accomplish this team getting to the Stanley Cup Finals already, but whatever. So Young from Clyde and Zalapsky, and then Matvichuk from Medano and Courtnall. I forgot to mention, actually, Zalapsky was with the Flames, I think, at the beginning of this build, so he's playing his former team. So Andy Moog, the first star with the shutout, Mike Vernon, the second star, and Young, the third star. So Andy Moog has done a solid job while Wackelick has been out, because he's allowed a total of, 5 goals. Yeah, 5 goals in the last 3 games. So he's been solid enough, considering our offense has been contributing as well. Wackelick is still not back till, I think it was the 18th, so he won't be back still till the Stanley Cup Finals if we get there. So here we go. Can we advance to the Stanley Cup Finals with an 11-2 record and face either the Rangers or the Penguins? Let's see what happens. Come on, boys. First period, and 2-1 for your stars. Gagne and Matvichuk score, and then Nieuwendyk scores to make it a 2-1 game. Shots are 14-12 in favor of us. Second period, and it's 3-2 Flames all of a sudden. So we had a 2-0 lead, and we've blown it to make it a 3-2 game for the Flames. Not good. Andy Moog starting to show his age a bit more now. Donnelly scored a shorthanded goal to tie the game, and Robert Reichel gives them the lead with a power play goal going into the third. So yeah, our penalty kill has not been good so far in this third round, but then again, the Flames have a very good offensive core, so I wouldn't expect them to do the greatest. Shots are 22-19 in favor of us. Let's see what happens here in this third period, and Medano ties it up early. Nicely done, Mike. Power play for us, and we score on a Trent Klatt. Nice. Okay, I wasn't expecting 2 early goals in this third period from us, but okay. final 10 minutes of this third period. Are we going to advance to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time in franchise history already? And yes, we are, with a nice 4-3 victory. Somehow we managed to pull through, even with our injury problems that we've had in the last little while. We've managed to get to the Stanley Cup Finals, knocking out the Flames in 5 games. So, like, I think we've only lost, like, how much games now? I think, yeah, we're 12-2 at this point. So that's from that game: Gagne from Lindell and Evason, Mafetruk from Courtnall and Medano. Then they scored 3 unanswered goals, but then Medano scores from Adams and Courtnall early, and then 3 minutes later, Klatt scores from Young and Broughton to give us the victory here in Game 5. 3 stars: Medano, Klatt, and Courtnall. But yeah, that first line has definitely stepped it up out of nowhere. Because like I said, that first round they were very quiet, but they've been doing really well since like the second round. And we're going to be going up against the New York Rangers in the Stanley Cup Finals as they take out the Penguins in 5 games. Wow. So we're going up against the 94 champions, and I didn't want to actually, I almost went ahead to game number 2 already, goddamn. I didn't realize there was a game on this Saturday. It kind of scared me. So Rangers are 12-3 in this playoff run. We're 12-2, so whoever wins this is going to have a very good, like, historic season unless it goes all 7 games. So let's take a look at the player stats for that round, and then we'll take a look at the New York Rangers lineup, and also I guess we check their player stats so far as well in the playoffs. Maybe take a look actually at their team stats. So let's take a look at our player stats first for this playoff run so far. So Mike Medano, 18 points in 14 games. Courtnall, 17 points. Young, 14 points. So all those guys over point per game or point per game. And Neil Broughton, 11 points. Klatt, 11 points. Pretty much everybody on this team has been pretty good, because Gilchrist even had 9 points in 11 games before he went down, so once he comes back, that should help us out a bit too. And then Stapleton's been a very good depth forward for us. But everybody's been contributing on this team. Everybody has at least 2 points as well, so our entire team has got points, which is nice. Goaltending-wise, Darcy Wackluck's still out with an injury. He's 8-0-1 still, 1.77 and a 938. And Andy Moog's been pretty solid as well, 4-1 with 1 shutout at 926 and at 2.16. So we're continuing to show that we're a very good defensive team like what we did during the regular season, so I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, let's take a quick look at the points for the Rangers. See who's leading them. Mark Messier's got 18 points in 15 games. He's the guy to watch out for, as well as Brian Leach, who's very dominant, and same with Sergei Zubov. They pretty much have the same roster, it looks like, as they did in 1994. Yeah, well, let's go through their roster without looking at those in-depth player stats, because I want to look through their lineup more so than their actual player stats so far. And then we'll take actually a look at their team stats so far in the playoffs as well to see what they've been good at and what they haven't been. And then that'll be pretty much it for this episode. So the New York Rangers, let's see what their lineups are looking at. So they got Graves, Messier, and Tony Tanti, who they got from Germany. Yeah, that first line's pretty good. Second line, Steve Larmer, Stu Barnes, and Andrei Kovalenko. So I guess they got Kovalenko from Quebec, Barnes from Florida, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was from Florida. And then Steve Larmer's still been there. Esa Tiganen, Christian Rutu from Chicago. Alexei Kovalev still there. Evgeny Davidov from the Sens. Same with Dave McClain and Sergei Nemchinov. So that's a very good forward core. Like, the center depth is really insane. I don't know how McClain's grown to an 84, but whatever. Still a very good forward core. Defensively, they're really good as well on their top 2, but their top 6 is gross. Ew. Wow, that's really weird. So they got a 92 and a 90 in Leach and Zubov. Those guys run the offense as well on that back end. And you got Karpatsev and Bukaboom. But then you got a 64 in this Kostitsyn guy, who was drafted in the 5th round. And then you also got Nathan LaRose, who's an AHL top 2 defenseman. So, yeah, that's a really weak top 6. I don't know why they're playing those guys, because there's no cap space. So they could literally pick up anyone they want, but they want to play these guys instead for some reason. As for goaltending, they still have Mike Richter, who's 30 years old, and Ron Tugnut as their backup. As for depth guys, they have Paul Broughton, our former player, and Neil's brother. As well, they have Mick Vukata and Joe Koser. So they have some very physical depth guys. Okay, so let's quickly take a look at how they've done in terms of team stats in the playoffs, like their power play and all that, and then that will be it for this episode. And in the next episode, we will take them on them in the Cup Finals, which is pretty crazy. I don't know how we're up in the Cup Finals at this stage already. So wins, obviously we are both the best two teams. They scored 60 goals so far in the playoffs. God damn. So yeah, they're the second best offensive team in the playoffs. We are the third with a 3.57, so we're scoring a little bit under theirs. As for goals against, though, we have a 1.93. They have a 2.33, so we're both pretty similar, but we are better. Their power play has been better by only like 3%, so not a big difference. And in penalty kill wise, we've been better, 85% to their 81.4. And then they're 7-1 on home ice like we are, and then they're 5-2 on the road, while we're 5-1 on the road. So this should be a very interesting Stanley Cup Finals matchup. Sergei Zubov going up against a team that he's going to play for in the future. Hopefully we could actually bring him into this lineup sometime too. So anyways, let me know what you guys think down below, and I will see you guys in the Stanley Cup Finals when we face the New York Rangers.